So last year I made a video on my top 10 favorite games of 2022, and I was going to do the same thing this year, and part of the video is actually made, but only like the honorable mentions and like 1 or 2.5 like segments of the video. So basically, I was working on it from like the beginning of the year up until I want to say about March, and then I stopped. So the ship is kind of sailed on that. However, for my own sake of wanting to kind of document what games I liked when it came to, you know, specific years, I decided to make this kind of like, I don't know if you can tell, but this is unscripted. It's kind of just like a quick, like, lower version of the kind of video I made last year, just to like catch up on stuff, because I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, but I've not been uploading videos in a while, and I want to get back to that, and I feel like a good way to get to that is by finishing this up, even though it's not exactly how it was before. And then after this, I can get back to the Ocarina of Time with my cousins, and I can get back to finally working on the Growing Up series. Just to have everything documented, everything nice and done. And there are a bunch of one-off ideas for videos I want to do so bad, but it feels kind of to do those when I have other stuff I should be doing instead. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. And, you know, it's not going to be as crazily edited as the last year's video or any of the other, I guess, edited videos, but I'm just going to take a look at my script and, like, pick off specific notes so that way I can talk about the games that would have been on the top 10, that are the top 10, because this is still going to be a top 10, it's just not going to be as in-depth. However, since the honorable mentions portion of the video was fully edited and done, and that in of itself wasn't super edited, super like high quality edited itself, I'll just put that in here as like a thing, and then after that I'll do the unscripted stuff. But also, just to note, obviously it's August of 2024, so a lot of my opinions have probably changed. So now that this is being done like in real time, like August, and this video will probably go up within like 2 days of me making this, my thoughts will be up to date. But this is for games I played in 2023. Actually, as a matter of fact, for this video, I'm just gonna play the intro. I'm gonna play the intro as I made it. And then after the intro, and then after the honorable mentions, I'm just gonna do the top 10. I'm just gonna do the top 10 completely like unscripted, and just go off of that. Get my thoughts out that way, just for my own sake of having this documented. So, yeah. Okay, so, once again, I played a lot of games in 2023, even more than I did in 2022. Once again, any game that I played for the first time this year qualifies for this list, whether it be new or old. I've only played 2 of the 6 Game of the Year nominees, and if you know me, you probably know which 2 they are. At the very least, I'd like to think this year's list has more variety compared to last year's list. I tried a lot of new stuff this year, whether it be a genre I don't typically play, or just a new series I didn't expect to like as much as I actually did. This video will contain spoilers, but they won't be as abundant as before, as this year's lineup of games did not move me too much with the stories. That being said, this year's lineup is overall much better than what I played last year. And if you're interested in what made the list last year, I highly recommend you watch that video as well. Before we get started, I actually want to go over the honorable mentions first, as there were so many other good games this year that could have even warranted the video to be top 15, maybe even top 20. It's a little unfortunate that some of these did not make the actual list, but without further delay, here they are. First up, we have SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake. I was pretty excited for this game when it was first announced, as I obviously love SpongeBob and the great games he had around the 2000s. I enjoyed this game enough, but I would have loved this game even more if I was like 5. It's still pretty good, and I can tell a lot of effort went into it. But I don't know, something just felt missing, or even in some cases, the game felt like it was trying too hard? Nonetheless, it is a pretty enjoyable experience. This year, I decided to invest in the Xbox Game Pass, and oh boy, this will become pretty important way later in the video. Regardless, one of the games I put a little bit of time into was Guilty Gear Strive. This game was already pretty enjoyable to watch, as the visuals and music alone made this an amazing spectator experience. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get into it. I don't know where this game ranks on the fighting game difficulty scale, but everything just seemed too complicated for a game I already had very little interest in playing. Nonetheless, I cannot deny how good of a game this is as far as fighting games go. So, My Hero Ultra Rumble. I think this game is, like, objectively not that good and very flawed, but I don't give a fuck. This game is fun as shit, and that's all I needed out of an anime battle royale starring My Hero characters. Enough said. I dabbled with Resident Evil in the past, and by dabbled I mean I played RE5 with Timmy like 5 years ago or something. So Timmy is back at it again and got me to start from the very beginning with Resident Evil 1 Remake. I like this game quite a bit, but with everything going on with this game, like it being a remake of a 1996 PS1 game, there's a limit to how good it could actually be. Nevertheless, I still had a fun time, although I would have had a significantly less fun experience had Timmy not been there to teach and guide me throughout my playthrough. Kirby's Return to Dreamland is my favorite traditional Kirby game, so I was pretty excited when Nintendo announced an expanded version of the original. The game is pretty much the exact same as the original. It added a couple of new copy abilities, an entire minigame side mode which I got way more mileage out of than I thought I would. It also has an entire post-game story where you play as Magolor. This is like objectively a pretty flawless game in my opinion, but like, I've played it before. There's content for days, but at the end of the day, this is more of an HD remaster than a remake, so I can't in good faith qualify it for the actual list. However, if this was my first time playing this game, it would be top 3 free, maybe even number 1 low-key. A game I've been meaning to play for years now is A Hat in Time. What Shovel Knight did for NES-era platformers is what this game did for the generation of games I grew up with. My favorite genre right next to RPG is platformers, and this game is very platformer. It has the charm, the controls are very tight, the level themes are oozing with originality. It's great. I can see myself returning to this game in the near future, and it's pretty unfortunate it didn't make the list, but hey, other games had more of an impact on me. Sucks it took me so long to play this game, because in 2017, this would have been among my favorites for sure. And lastly, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. If you saw last year's video, you would know how much I loved Xenoblade 3. I regret to inform you guys though that the honeymoon phase is now over, and I actually don't care about that game as much as I used to. I still think it's great, but I can't see myself replaying it anytime soon. The Xenoblade series as a whole to me is amazing in every aspect except the actual gameplay, which is kind of a problem considering that these are video games. The combat just isn't that interesting. Sorry, but I guess I'm just not seeing what everyone else sees. That aside, Future Redeemed is an amazing ending to the first 3 Xenoblade games. This DLC for Xenoblade 3 was honestly nothing too special at first. It was good, but it was just Xenoblade. Up until the very end, where everything you experienced in the 3 games culminates into one of the most satisfying endings to a game. The credits roll with scenes from the past games was just beautiful. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the honorable mentions. Time to get into the big boys. Here are my top 10 games I played in 2023. Enjoy. So, number 10 is Street Fighter 6. Just to note, number 10 and 9 are fully edited and, like, ready to go, or they were ready to go, and then number 8 is, like the first, like, fucking, like, paragraph, I think, was edited. Yeah. So, if for some reason anybody wants to see those, I can do something, figure something out. But just for the sake of consistency with this video, I'm just gonna go, completely, unscripted, so yeah. Street Fighter 6 was kind of the beginning of the fighting game like renaissance that we're currently experiencing. EVO just happened for this year, and you know, EVO last year for Street Fighter as well. Both EVOs for Street Fighter 6 so far were like amazing. And there are other fighting games. Tekken 8 is currently out. It wasn't out when I wrote this script. Grand Blue seems cool. You know, Mortal Kombat 1 is, you know, Mortal Kombat, but, you know, there are people. It's a new game, you know, it's like we're in a new era, so there's that. And then, you know, Project L, which is coming out at some point, or TK, whatever the fuck. Whatever. Fighting games we're doing good, we're doing good. But, me, myself, I have, like, basically never played Street Fighter. I had, like, Street Fighter 1 on, like, my PSP, and I, like, fucked around in the training mode in Street Fighter 5. For like 5 seconds before realizing that I don't give a shit about fighting games. Because my only real experience with fighting games are Smash and Dragon Ball FighterZ, which are both like kind of licensed, not licensed, but pre-existing like IPs. So just straight up fighting game, I'm like a virgin to that shit. But Street Fighter 6 looked cool, so I dipped my toe into that entire, I dipped my toe into the series, and it was, yeah, it was fire. It's fire. It's a fire-ass game. I got Street Fighter 6 basically the day it came out, and I played it for a few months. But the The big thing Street Fighter 6 did for me is it actually just got me into the series as a whole. Like, after playing the game for a bit, I have, like, currently, like, what, 60 hours on it. I then went and, like, brushed up on, like, the lore. I watched the 90s anime movie with some people. Like, I basically know, like, everything Street Fighter now. Like, when it comes to, like, the story and the world and some of the, like, competitive, like, lore and shit, like, the stories. You know, Street Fighter has one of the most iconic casts in gaming. Like, everyone knows, like, Ryu and Ken, Chun-Li. And the interesting thing about Street Fighter 6 is that the characters have, like, brand new designs. And these designs are fire, and in some instances, the new designs, like, shit on the original, like Cammy. I think the main reason, or one of the big things, the Street Fighter 6 already looked cool, but you know, I was like, oh man, well, I don't know who I would play. Like, Ken has, like, a really cool design. I really love Ken's new design. But it wasn't, like, oh, crazy. But Cammy's new design, like, outfit was so fire. And I hate Cammy's regular design. I know that's, like, a crazy thing to say, but I think she looks so dumb. I hate that outfit. It's so stupid. They're doing way too much. Or they were doing way too much. It's an old-ass design. But she's so fire. And she's so fire in this game. And she's basically the only character I've played. And she's sick. And, you know, she's also really fucking good, so that helped a lot. I'm, like, not, like, very smart when it comes to this game. I don't know, like, what does, like, I'm not that good. I'm not that fucking good. I don't know if you're looking at the footage right now, but I'm not the best. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing, if that makes any sense. So I'm not really going to speak on the mechanics and stuff, but I do know a lot of people have problems with this game, but I'm starting to realize that a lot of people have a lot of problems a lot of fighting games. I hear some people say they hate Street Fighter V. It's like the worst game ever made, and some people say, oh, it's like their favorite. So, like, I'm just going to assume whatever game is the newest is the one people like. But I can also tell, like, the general consensus from even people who liked 5 that 6 is better. This game does have some issues, though, or some shit that I didn't really like. The whole monetary shit is really dumb. The cosmetics and purchasable items are, like, garbage. Like, $100 basically, $100+ basically to get every, like, cosmetic item in the game is kind of, well, it's really stupid. And, World Tour was fun for, like, the first couple of chapters, and it's a pretty unique take on, like, a story mode for a fighting game. But that shit gets so boring so fast. I did not finish that shit. Like, there's, like, parts where you have to grind. Like, I was done. I was so done. I didn't want to do that shit anymore. And usually, like, I commit to games, even if I don't like them, like, I'll finish them most of the time, but if it's so tedious, I was so done. And most of the people I talked to who played Street Fighter 6 and the story mode said, like, it's not worth it unless you, like, really love this game. And I like Street Fighter 6, but I don't love it. I tried competing for a while, and this game gets me so pissed. And it's not like a game thing, it's just a me thing. Like, I've been playing Smash since the game came out, Ultimate. And I got mad a few times. I get mad sometimes, like, you know, here and there, like, frustrated. But Street Fighter 6 makes me fucking mauled. Like, I have slammed my desk playing this fucking game. And again, I don't think it's a game thing. I mean, it probably is. It could be, but no, I think it is. I don't think it's a me thing. I think it's the game, but I don't think it's, like, the game's fault. I think it's just me not being used to this kind of game. And some characters are really stupid. But that being said, the controls flow so well. It's very accessible. Like, besides the paywalls, like, there isn't really anything wrong with this game. And, you know, I love watching it. I watch it from time to time. It's a very good spectator sport, and the game looks amazing. Way better than 5, for sure. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about number 10 Street Fighter 6. I haven't really played it recently. I'll fuck around here and then, and I'll definitely, like, watch tournaments if somebody, like, asks me to, but I'm still not, like a big Street Fighter head, but baby steps, you know. Okay, so number 9, and yes, this is, like, really funny, and this, I don't know if this aged poorly, I don't think so. It's a Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Yeah, I put it above Street Fighter. So, like, Street Fighter 6 is definitely a better game. Like, it's not even, like, a fucking question, and anybody who says it's not is an idiot, right? And I can acknowledge that. But if we just look at the data here, right? Street Fighter 6 came out in June of last year. NASB came out in November. I put more hours into NASB 2 than Street Fighter 6 within, like, a week. Like, I played Street Fighter 6 for a couple months, or maybe it was a month. Maybe a month to, like, 2 months, maybe even 3. I played NASB 2, like week 1 of NASB 2, I had already like way more hours than Street Fighter 6. So that has to count for something, right? Yeah, NASB 1 was ass. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna, like, oh, NASB 1, it's like, it was ass. It obviously had some things that were good about it. It had, like, promise and hope, but the game is ass. I'm sorry, it was ass. It was fun, but it was ass. Can we agree on that? Thank you, Shake. The interesting thing about NASB 2 is that I actually already have a video describing my thoughts on it on this channel, because I had a review code, basically. It wasn't like a sponsored shit, but it was just like an early copy, early access, I don't know. So I already made a video describing my thoughts on that, but it would be so easy to just say, oh, go watch that, so no, I'm not gonna say that. I don't think this game's placement on the list aged bad. I think the game itself and like where it sits in people's heads has aged the worst out of everything else on this list. So at least the fact that this video is super late and is being like basically made like right now, I have a lot of insight on it. So the game obviously had like a clear budget boost. It's still not, like, amazing, but, like, compared to, like, NASB 1, it's, like, a fucking miracle. The game plays way more like Smash now, because there's, like, 4 specials, 4 tilts, 5 aerials, etc., you know. I think this game actually has more moves than Smash, because there's, like, aerial smash attacks. Like, even, like, aside from, like, the EX shit, like, this game actually has more moves than Smash, I'm pretty sure. The voice acting is cool. The fact that I have to say that is insane, by the way, but the roster is what I feel like a lot of people have issues with, including myself. It's a mixed bag. They added a lot of characters that I, like, love, like El Tigre, Angry Beavers, and Jimmy Neutron. I'm a big animation fan. I like animation almost as much as I like video games. So seeing El Tigre and Jimmy Neutron especially, which were, like, childhood favorites, was, like, amazing. But they also cut a lot of characters, which isn't inherently bad, but they cut, like, a lot of, like, kind of important ones. like half the Ninja Turtles are gone, Cat Dog, Sandy, like, it's kind of, like, eh. And there's probably reasons for it, and obviously that doesn't make the game, like, terrible, but I'd rather have them than not have them, you know? And, like, some of the new characters they picked were, like, kind of weird, but whatever. Like, the DLC specifically, I do not, I'm not a fan of the choices they went with that. The game now has a campaign, which I love story modes in crossover games. I just like seeing character interactions and shit. Like that's all you need. Character interactions that are cool. The campaign is like itself is like whatever, but like for what it is, it's pretty fun. And like some people can probably get way more mileage out of it than me. Yeah, the whole like new mechanics with the slime meter is like really cool. I don't know. The thing with this game is that like I hate saying this because it's like the new thing that people say with games, but like the pieces are there. The pieces are there. It's a step in the right direction, but it's just not quite there. I don't know what it is. Maybe the game needs even more of a budget. And platform fighters now have, like, there's, like, a whole discussion going on. Because we're also in a renaissance for fighting games. We're also in a renaissance for, like, platform fighters, whether you consider those fighting games or not. You know, I don't want to get too deep into it because there's, like, a whole controversial issue with multiverses and all that. But NASB 2 is fun. It's a good game. It's just not, like, where it is now and where it was back when I actually, like, when this video was supposed to come out. It's just not going to be, like, mainstream. It's not going to, like, catch everybody's interest. I love this game. I think it's good. Obviously, I haven't played it in a long time because nobody else is playing it, so how else am I supposed to play it? But the ingredients are there. They just need to let it simmer some more. I don't know. Something. I don't know who's to blame for this game. I don't know. They just... something. Just do something, man. Okay, so weirdly enough, one of my most anticipated games of 2023 was Final Fantasy XVI, and the weird part, I guess, about that I should explain is that out of, like, the numbered Final Fantasy games, I played, like, 3 that aren't this one. I played 7, which is one of, if not my favorite game of all time, and I played 14. Base game 14, so not even the good part of the fucking game, which I explained in last year's, it's not even last year at this point, it was last year's video, the 2022 video. I played FF14 for the first time, and kind of recently I started to marathon the series. I played 1 and 2, and I think 1 is fine. It's like, it's Final Fantasy 1, like, come on. And I think Final Fantasy 2 is shit, okay? Not really an unpopular opinion, but yeah. But even before I played any of those, I think even before I played 7, 16 piqued my interest. Probably because it's a PS5 game, and, you know, those don't exist. And back when they were first showing off the PS5, it was just cool that there was like a Final Fantasy game being made with the like Devil May Cry combat designer, and like it was like mature. Like I just thought it was cool, and I lied actually. I lied. I think I played FF7 Remake before they announced FF16, so I was kind of already interested off of that alone. But as I played 7 and like the other games, it kind of made me want to play like a new one. This is the first like new Final Fantasy game that like I was around for like the announcement and like the cycle and everything. Medieval times, like again, medieval times, the like mature themes, the combat looked cool. Like it just looked promising. And the game came out, and it was like it was fine. Okay, it was fine. If there's one thing I think I don't see anyone. This game's very this game's very divisive. Right off the bat, like some people hate this game, and some people like love it and think it's the best. But I think it's solid. It's a solid Final Fantasy game. I mean, if there's one thing that I think nobody can really complain about, it's the presentation. Like the game looks great. The game looks great. The voice acting is great. And the soundtrack is amazing. It literally won Best OST at the Game Awards, I'm pretty sure. The combat is not as interesting as I thought it would be, and I think that is also the consensus. But it's still fun. I've never played Devil May Cry, but I know it's not touching that shit when it comes to combat. And I think the concept of a Final Fantasy game where the summons are like the central focus of the plot is like really cool. But speaking of the plot, I don't think this game has like a bad story. I think it's a good story, actually. It's just the way the game goes about breaking itself up into like story bits and gameplay bits. Like it's so like the pacing is ass. I think that's what I'm trying to say. The pacing sucks. Like the beginning of the game and the end of the game are peak. Like they're amazing. Like the way they like break up the story and the gameplay is amazing. The beginning and the ending of the game. Somewhere along the middle, it's like the most formulaic, like boring. Like sometimes it's boring. Like the best way to explain it is literally like the characters are talking in a story, and then they make you do a thing. You do the thing. You go back to like the hub area. Leave, do some insane story shit and then the boss fights are like fucking amazing. The best part of the game. Like this is the best game ever made when you're in a boss fight. That's the best way to explain it. But then after that peak ass boss fight, you go back to doing bullshit. And then it's another boss fight, and it's like fire, and then you go back to doing bullshit, and it's just that over and over again. And it like took me out of the experience. I don't know if that's like a popular opinion or not. Like obviously the game can't just be fucking amazing all the time. I mean, it should be fucking amazing all the time, but you can't be doing the best parts all the time. It's kind of a JRPG thing. It's like you kind of have to slog through like some shit to get to the good parts. But yeah, the way the game was just set up, it just made me not give a shit about what was happening most of the time. But the icon boss battles are the best part of the game. My personal favorite being the one against Titan. It has like the Sonic Frontiers effect where they treat every boss as if it could be the final boss. And, you know, it's a perfect mix of, like, gameplay and, like, you know, cinematic battles. Like, spectacle, you know? Clive is a really cool character, and upon looking back at the game, like, after beating it, typically when I beat games, I look back at stuff, and okay, now that I'm done with it, let me look back at this to, like, see if this, like the lasting impact. The characters and story are definitely better than people say. I think people are way too hard on the characters and story, but they're good. It's good. It's not the best. Definitely not as good as 7, in my opinion. But this game deserves more respect, I think. I can see why it wasn't even nominated for Game of the Year, which is it's pretty funny and pretty sad, but I can see why. It makes sense. This game does get a lot of hate. I don't think it deserves it. It's not as good as people expected. It's still good. It's a good-ass game. So one of the first games I played in 2023 was Fire Emblem Engage. The game kind of just came out of nowhere. They announced it like 4 months before it actually came out or something. And by the looks of it, it was clear this was supposed to be like a fucking anniversary game, kinda. It features like elements from every Fire Emblem game. So I love Fire Emblem, I'm a big fan. But it's also like one of those series where I don't usually get excited for new installments. Like I'll usually get it when it comes out, but like I don't get like hyped. But that's kind of just how like I am with games in general. But like specifically for Fire Emblem, a series that I would consider in like my top 10, like I don't usually get excited. It's weird. I'm weird. But I enjoyed the game. I mean, it's number 7. It's above the other games I talked about, so I like it, obviously. The game is better than I thought it would be, but I don't think it's, like, anything insane. But it's a really solid Fire Emblem game. I think the gameplay carries. I don't know. That implies that everything else is ass, but that's not true. But the gameplay is the best part of the game, like, bar none. The emblem mechanic allows you to do, like, fusion shit with pre-existing Fire Emblem characters, and you get like buffs, new weapons, new skills for like a limited amount of time, and it's just chaotic. It's like Fire Emblem like on crack. Like it's so fun, and just the prospect of seeing old characters come back is fun. The story is definitely the worst part, and like yeah, I know. From the Fire Emblem fandom, this is like everyone knows, everyone says this. Some people don't think it is, but I do. My opinion. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's just like a nothing story. They just hit the make a story button. Fire Emblem make a story button. That's basically what it is. The characters like suck off Alear, which is like annoying. It's like, oh, it's the Divine Dragon. Oh my god, the main character is just made to be like everyone loves him. He just exists to be cool, I guess. He's not even that cool. Speaking of which, like the design of him, I know it's like a thing a lot of people is a point of contention. He like looks. My stance is that he looks really cool, but really fucking stupid at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. That's the best way I can explain it. I do like the idea of having characters from the old Fire Emblems returning, but I think they could have done it in a better way. I don't know. This is like something I don't see people talk about a lot, so I think it's a me thing. But I think like I see it as these characters, like Marth and Ike and them, are like important. They're like their own important characters with their own important stories from like past games, and they have like their own like history and shit. But now they're kind of just confined to like these rings, and they use them like they're Pokemon. Like that's how I get it. It's silly, and I guess it's supposed to be like that, but I just think that's dumb. I feel like it kind of like undermines them, but I don't know how else they were supposed to do it. If there was another way they could do it, but that's just me. The story sucks, but at least the characters are enjoyable. They don't have like a lot of depth, like the ones in like Three Houses or even Awakening. But it's clear the devs had a lot of fun writing them, and the designs are amazing. This game in general just looks good. Compared to Three Houses, I think that game looks like shit. That game looks like ass. This game looks amazing. And I know it's like, anime, but it's like, fucking, like, it's Fire Emblem, bro. Like, what? This game looks really good. The environments look good. The models and the animations are amazing. Like, such a step up from Three Houses. Like, holy shit. In that aspect. Panhead is fire. Yunaka's great. Citrine's awesome. Like, they cooked. They cooked with the designs in this game. I'll say it. I know that's another point of contention, but that's just me. And the music, bro? I don't know if this is a hot take either, but this might be my favorite soundtrack in the series. There are so many bangers, dude. This might be like some new Thai lore for some people, but my favorite Fire Emblem game is Fate, which is like an insane thing to say, I guess. But my main reason for that is that it's fun. It's just really fucking fun. And that game, everything else about that game is like probably really ass, but the game is fun. It's so fun that like I can look past that, and I think Engage is the exact same way. Like the games are, like the gameplay is in these two games are like amazing, and the stories are like cockadookey. Like I would like compelling stories, yes, especially like on the levels of like Awakenings. I don't know if that's a hot take either. I think Awakening story, at least the like themes in Awakening story are like amazing, but. And I would like that in every Fire Emblem I play, but it's becoming clear to me that as far as Fire Emblem games go, I just want a fun game. And I think Engage delivered in that department. So yeah. So far on this list, I've only talked about games that have come out in 2023. So the first game on this list that isn't from 2023 is Shadow of the Colossus, the original, not the remake. It's weird. It's the original, but it's like a HD port of the original on PlayStation 3. So not the remake, but not the original, but it's basically the original in widescreen, from what I can gather. That's the version I played. It's a game I've known about since I was a kid. Everyone used to always talk about it, like on YouTube. Everyone always talked about it, so I knew it had to be good, but it's just not something I gave a shit when I was like... It's just not something I gave a shit about when I was like 10, you know? So I finally played it in 2023, and it is pretty damn good. Team Ico, I think it's Ico, He's highly regarded as one of the best game developers when it comes to minimalistic storytelling. All I knew about this game, or not all I know, but like going into this game, like the story's there, but they don't like explain it. The whole point of the Team Ico games is that it's just minimalistic storytelling. So going into this game, all you know is that you're a boy and you have a horse, a bow, a sword, and you want to revive like some dead girl. So now you go kill giant monsters to save her. For a PS2 game in like 2005, like this must have been like insane. This must have been like a crazy ass like achievement in like game development. Like it doesn't even look that good, but the entire time I was playing this game, I was just thinking to myself like and how the PS2 functions like as a console. Like it's not the strongest console, especially at the time. It was the weakest of like the generation, other than like the Dreamcast. Just like how it functions, I was just like surprised. Like the PS2, like this is a PS2 game. Like I guess the whole point of the PS2 using discs is that like DVDs is that it can do shit like this. It just won't like run the best, and which is very apparent. But the fact that this exists is still cool, especially at the time it came out. So yeah, this game is basically a boss rush. You go to where the Colossi are, use some traversing, puzzle solving, blah blah blah, kill them, rinse and repeat. There are some things you can do in the overworld, like kill lizards and find fruit to increase health and stamina, but from what I gathered from playing the game, that was basically it. I wasn't too impressed by like exploring the world itself, like outside of like getting to the like Colossi. Like I did not give a shit about killing lizards for extra health and stuff, but like if I saw one along the way, I would do it. I did not go out of my way to look for that stuff. Now, obviously, the Colossi battles are the highlight of the game, and they are brought up constantly when it comes to like talking about like the best boss fights in gaming, and that's the game. It's a boss rush basically, and each boss in of itself is like a puzzle. Like you'll be navigating their bodies to exploit their weaknesses, and you know a lot of people think the controls in this game suck, and I kind of like that about the game. Like I don't even think they suck necessarily, but I get what people mean. But I kind of think that makes for, like, the game. That's the game. Like, that's the experience. It makes it, like, more enticing. Like, the physics and how Wander moves in general. Like, this is how a boy would react and, like, perform in a situation like this. And, like, not every Colossi was a hit. I don't remember off the top of my head. Because at this point in time, it's been, like, a year and a half since I played the game. But the game would make up for, like, the shitty, like, ones that I didn't like as much with, like, an amazing one. One of the best parts of the game, again, is the narrative. And I don't want to focus on that stuff too much, because I know that other Team Ico games, there's like a whole rabbit hole when it comes to that game. Like, they're connected, I think. So I don't know too much, but the game is depressing. Like, the Colossi aren't even, like, necessarily evil, but you have to go and kill them all to save this random girl. Like, the themes of, like, sacrifice and morality, consequence, all that stuff. It's deep. It's very deep. And it definitely had me thinking a little bit by the time I was done with the game. I was like, damn. This is... damn. And obviously, again, music, big part of the game. It's beautiful. I enjoyed Shadow of the Colossus a lot. It could be, and, you know, maybe it should be a lot higher. Especially when you guys see, like, what is above this. But I think the other 5 games on the list, they just impacted me a bit more. So, yeah, let's talk about those. So in 2023, 2 really good Mario games came out. A brand new 2D Mario game after like 11 years like of the last one, and a remake of Super Mario RPG, which is so fucking random that we even got that, but I was excited. Like it sounds so fake. It sounds like a game like a remake of Mario RPG from like what? So I have a rule in these videos that I like to pick 1 game per series. Because I think both of these games would have made it on if I didn't have that rule, and I think that's kind of lame. I want more variety when it comes to like the IPs, like franchises. So I gotta pick between Wonder and Mario RPG, and to just get it out of the way now, I think Wonder is fun, and it's definitely a top 2 2D Mario. I like Mario World a lot. I might like it more than this, I don't know. It was really creative, breath of fresh air when it comes to like platformers as a whole, but like, this is, like, something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Like Mario is just, it's Mario, you know? I feel like Mario can only be so good, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if that's, like, a hot take, but 2D Mario is fun. Like, everyone likes Mario. Nobody doesn't like Mario. And none of the games are even bad, I don't think. Like, objectively, none of them are bad. Some of them could be, like, a little boring. like some of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, but it's Mario. It's Mario at the end of the day. It's Mario. They're solid, but they're just not like that crazy or compelling. And I know people don't play Mario for that, but I don't know. The point is that I like Mario RPG more. Okay. Now I understand Mario RPG is not an original game like Wonder, but this game isn't like a simple port or like a remaster. It's like a full-blown remake of a 20-plus-year-old game. And I just liked it more than Wonder. These games both came out like around the same time too, and I was way more excited to play this than Wonder. Wonder was more of a, oh yeah, that exists. I think Wonder would have been like 9th on this list. Like, it would have probably been above like Nasby 2 under Final Fantasy. But Mario RPG is sitting at a nice 5th place right now. That being said, I'm surprised I even bought this game. Like, it was kind of like a last-minute decision, but I think I bought this game with, like, I just wanted to, like, support games like this. Like, this is the games, we want these. We want remakes of these cult classic games. Hopefully this gives us a proper sequel or just more Mario RPGs in general. Then perfect. Perfect. When I was around 11 years old, I went to Cape Verde for the summer, and I watched Sugar Conroy's Let's Play on this game the entire time I was there. And the game looked so cool, and I was impressed that an old piece of shit dinosaur game, old-ass game, could be this packed. It could be this packed with content. Like, I did not believe this was a Super Nintendo game when I first saw this. I was like, damn, there's so much to do. So much dialogue. Like wow. I discovered emulators a little after that. Played the game for a bit. Yeah, this is fun. And then later on, I got it on my Wii, and then I beat it, and it was good. Really good. Seeing a lot of the characters from this game like come back finally with modern visuals and animations is like really cool. Do you guys know how many people thought that Mac, and I know his name is Clay Morton now, I don't understand the name changes. I think it's like a the game has a lot of pop culture references, I think, and they wanted to get rid of those, but whatever. A lot of people did not know that boss was like supposed to be a knife. I knew because I'm the GOAT and I use my eyes, but now that could be like conveyed to everybody, you know. And I'm not even like, I don't give a shit about Gino or Mallow like a lot of other people do. But I kind of want to see them used a lot more now. Because like regardless of personality and like whatever, just seeing them like actually like be back is like sick. It's kind of unreal, to be honest. This game is an amazing RPG, and genuinely I think an argument can be made for it being the best RPG in the Mario series. I don't think so. I like the Mario and Luigi series the most out of all of them. But I can see it. The argument can be made. It's also like literally the perfect gateway RPG for beginners. And that being said, since this video is coming out way later than expected, what's funny is that my best friend Timmy actually bought this game like on a whim a while ago. Never played the original, just bought it like, yeah, I want to play this, and like he beat it. He like did more than me. I didn't even do the post game in this game. He did. He like did everything. Like he like fell in love with this game, and I think that's it. That's all you need. Like that's all that, like he literally like he was like, yeah, this game is like goated. I was honestly a bit worried this game wouldn't do the original justice, but I think it could like replace the original, like after playing it. Like, yeah, it's not one-to-one. Again, some of the references are gone, and some of the names were changed, but I don't give a fuck about like the Earthlink boss, man. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not like it doesn't make or break the game. The gameplay's streamlined. The game doesn't hold your hand too much, like as opposed to a lot of modern like Nintendo RPGs. I'm glad this game exists, and you know, at the time of writing the script for this video, I don't think Thousand Year Door was not out yet, the remake. But from what I can tell, they did that game justice as well, so I'm just glad Nintendo is, like, putting effort into these, and I just, hopefully... Oh, yeah, and they announced the new Mario and Luigi, too. Wow, that's crazy how long this video has taken to come out. But we're eating good. I'm gonna save my thoughts on, like, the Thousand Year Door remake and the new Mario and Luigi for another time, because that's not what this video is about, but I'm just glad these exist, you know? If there was one single game that I think I have played over and over again, like my most replayed game I think ever might be Pikmin 1. It's such a replayable game, and the Pikmin series as a whole has like a gameplay loop that doesn't really get boring to me. So I love Pikmin 1, and I like Pikmin 2. I haven't played it nearly as much, but I like it. We'll leave it at that for now. I like it. And then Pikmin 4 was on the horizon. So with Pikmin 4 on the horizon, and then Pikmin 1 and 2 were also being ported to Switch around the same time, I saw this as the perfect opportunity to marathon the entire series, seeing how every game is now on the Switch. This would also mean that it would be my first time playing Pikmin 3. Now, while doing this marathon, I discovered I had a lot more interesting opinions on the series than I initially thought. Pikmin 1 still stands the test of time. Pikmin 2 is fucking AIDS to play. And Pikmin 3, while being a really, really good game, it kind of just went by super fast and wasn't too difficult. And Pikmin 4, I think, is even easier than Pikmin 3. But I feel as if it just does so much right, and it's like almost objectively the best game in the series. Now, unlike Mario RPG and Mario Wonder, the choice between Pikmin 3 and Pikmin 4 was way harder to make. Like, these games are, in my head, these games are pretty much, like, as good as each other. And maybe it's because of the way I played the series, I marathoned it, and maybe it's because I didn't play Pikmin 3, like, basically at all beforehand. I feel like Pikmin 3 kind of left a bit to be desired. Like, it's still fantastic, and I think it's probably just as good as Pikmin 4, but I feel like it didn't have as much staying power as the other entries. Like, I feel like I beat Pikmin 3 and I was just like, oh, okay, that's it. Cool. Pikmin 4 feels like the ultimate Pikmin game. Like, every species of Pikmin are back. There are 2 new ones, so it's like every Pikmin is in the game. The dungeons from Pikmin 2 are back, and they are better than they were in Pikmin 2. So many enemies and bosses from the previous games return. The nighttime stages becoming this like stressful tower defense mode, and they're hard. Like, those were cool. The game's no longer top down, so you get to explore, like, get to play the Pikmin game in like a different way. The Dandori shit, the Ochi shit. There's so much shit. This game does have its problems though. I think the opening act of the game drags on for too damn long. I never thought Pikmin could have so much dialogue. Like, it's a Pikmin game. I don't know if I'm alone on that, but I thought the dialogue was a little unnecessary. At least in the beginning of the game. It'll make, I don't know, I haven't replayed the game yet, but I feel like it'll make repeat playthroughs pretty annoying. The game is also really damn easy. Ochi's existence may be the single most broken thing in the Pikmin series. This isn't really a problem for me personally. Ochi's main use is to help with multitasking to get stuff like done quicker and more efficiently. But I just ride him the whole time to move faster and to like buttfuck any enemy that comes my way. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. But Pikmin 4 in and of itself offers like a surprisingly different experience that the other games do. Maybe it's because the GameCube Pikmins are the ones I have the most experience with, but 3 and 4 feel way more streamlined than the others do, which isn't bad, but in a way it almost makes them feel like different games to an extent. Maybe I'll revisit the games that aren't 1 more often, because I played 1 so many times, so maybe I'll revisit the other ones more often to see if they have just as much replayability as the first game. And if you're curious, my rankings for the Pikmin games go 1, 4, 3, gap. Unfortunately, there's a gap, and then there's 2. Okay, so we're at the home stretch here. 3 games left, but these next 2 games are kind of left field picks. And neither of them came out in 2023. It's definitely contentious or not whether these games are better than the ones on this list or not. Like, almost objectively, but without... Okay, it's, yeah. These are 2 games that I've been meaning to play for a while before this list was a thing. And, the placement of these 2 games show you guys how much impact they actually left on me. The first one is Banjo-Kazooie. My first exposure to Banjo was actually Nuts and Bolts back in 2008. And as far as Kid Me is concerned, that game is fire, but that's a talk for another day. So I did not grow up with Banjo-Kazooie, the original. And I know a lot of people who didn't grow up with Banjo-Kazooie who end up playing it like when they're an adult or like older. They don't usually like it. From what I can tell, they don't really. They think it's... Some people think it's ass. I know somebody who thinks this game is shit. Maybe it's because this game is a 3D platformer, and the era of gaming I grew up in was full of 3D platformers. But I think this game is fire, and I would have loved it if I played it as a kid. I don't know if that's true, actually. This game kind of has some bullshit, so maybe I wouldn't have liked it as a kid. But if I played this game when I was like 12 or 13, I would have probably loved it. Maybe just not as like a young kid. Now, out of every game on this list, the only game... Banjo-Kazooie is the only game that I have beaten more than once. I liked it so much. So me and Timmy, from earlier, we do this thing where we play games off of a list that we made back in high school. And to this day, we are still doing it. We made up and we do it. Early in 2023, he picked Banjo-Kazooie as a game for us to play because neither of us have played it. And it seems like a game we would both like. So via the Xbox Game Pass, we were able to play this game. So I had the playthrough I did with Timmy, and then I started a playthrough back, like on my own. That's how much fun I had with this game. I was like, nah, I gotta play this game on my own too. And I started a third one. I knew when I was making the script I was still doing it, and I'm technically still doing it, but I don't know if I'm gonna furnish it. Maybe I should. Because my end goal was to, like, learn this game like the back of my hand, because the world of Banjo-Kazooie is very charming, and I just think the game is just that fun. It's just that fun to me. This old-ass game is just that fun to me. I like how Rare crafted the worlds. The worlds are so well-made. I like the creatures with, like, just, like, the eyes. They just put, like, eyes on, like, objects, and, like, that's it. The collectibles, like, the places they put the collectibles are so, like, smart to me. Not all of them, but, you know, most of them. And there are too many games from this point in time with stupid archaic design that makes it almost impossible to get through the game without looking up a guide. I don't think this is one of those games. I was very easily able to, like, 100% this game with, like, very minimal help. Now, to be fair, I played this game on Xbox. Had I played the original N64 version, I might have just killed myself. I'm kidding, but, you know. I would have not liked this game as much. The main draw from the game, you know, is the charm. Like, look, you know, whether you think it's, like, stupid or not, like, these stupid characters and the noises, like, it has appeal. And the soundtrack is pretty damn good. It's not something I would ever, like, listen to outside of the game. But the work Greg Kirko put into it is, like, it's iconic. It's iconic. You can't disagree with that. The game isn't without its faults. The swimming sucks. I don't like swimming in any game. Nobody does. Water levels suck. But in this game, it's, like, really bad. And it just makes me like, fuck, I gotta do this now. It's so stupid. Rusty Bucket Bay can die. That being said, fuck Rusty Bucket Bay. But, that being said, I think every other world in this game is pretty much enjoyable. I know a lot of people don't like Click Clock Wood, because it can be really annoying, but, I think those people suck. I love Click Clock Wood. And I think Gobi's Valley might be, like, one of the best desert levels ever put into a platformer. I should not like Gobi's Valley, but I do. I think this game gets the praise it deserves, and I'm finally glad I got to sit down and play it and give it the time of day. I don't think this game is going to be, like, one of my favorites ever made, and I don't think I'm, like, a Banjo-Kazooie, like, fanatic now, but I get the hype. The series as a whole is, like, the Banjo as a whole is, like, a weird thing for me, because it's like, something I feel like I've had, like, nostalgia for, even though I haven't really been exposed to it that much growing up. Like, when Banjo got announced for Smash, like, 5 years ago, like, I popped off. Because that's, like, something I wanted without, like, having, like, any attachment to the character. But that's just, like, the effect, like, the series has on me, I guess. I don't know. So if you like 3D platformers, I highly recommend Banjo-Kazooie. So, I'm just gonna come out and say it. And I'm being, like, so dead-ass right now. Like, this is not troll. One of the biggest surprises for me, like, ever, while playing a game or series, has been Danganronpa. It's been memed to death, and it's notorious for having, like, one of the most cancerous fan bases on the internet. But, well, I'll explain. I've known about the series for a while now. I knew literally nothing about it. It's like anime or something. Characters talk a lot, but around the pandemic era, this is weird. It's like a weird game. A lot of people got into Danganronpa, like, during COVID. I guess people were that fucking bored. Even, like, some of my friends and family, like, their first exposure to Danganronpa was over COVID. So, technically, I started playing this game back in, like, 2020, but I only did the prologue, and then I, like, stopped. Maybe I just didn't give a shit. But I picked it back up in 2022, intending on beating it. That did not happen. So, in 2023, I locked the fuck in, and I finally beat it. And it somehow exceeded my expectations, like, more than it should have. So, after beating it, I was hooked on marathoning the series. But I actually only ended up beating Danganronpa 1 and 2. I played 2 right after, and I have not played... I've played Ultra Despair Girls very briefly, as of, like, recording this, but, well, we don't need to talk about that. So number 2 is between Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 2, but, before I pick one, I'm gonna explain why I actually like this series so much. So, probably the main reason is that this is probably the first visual novel I've played. Now, I played, like, Doki Doki Literature Club, but, like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, come on. There's nothing substantial. That's not the only thing that makes me like Danganronpa so much. I genuinely find the story compelling. Like, it's a visual novel, and there's, like, no gameplay, basically, so it better be compelling. But just, like, the story in general, where like any character can be a killer or be killed without any prior knowledge to know who is even capable of killing, had me guessing the entire time. Genuinely, a lot of these trials had me stumped as to like who the killer could be. But the game did like a good job at painting a clearer picture for me, like the more I played through it. And my reaction to when I finally like found out who the killer was always priceless. And yes, these games are fucking cringe and dumb and stupid, but that also like adds to it for me. Like the game being so dumb, the series being so stupid and cringe and dumb, it's what does it for me, you know? I either ignore the cringe shit, or I just ignore it and I enjoy the game for like everything it else had to offer. Or you gotta either do that, ignore it, or you gotta embrace it. And I personally embrace it because I think it makes me like the game. I appreciate the game for two different like aspects. I personally can play a game like Xenoblade 2, or even the Sonic games, like these like fan based, you know those games, and I can like laugh at the stupid shit while also enjoying the game for like what it is. Now, I'm not defending Danganronpa, don't get me wrong. It's just dumb, and that's part of the reason why I like it. But I'm not gonna defend the obviously, like, heinous shit, you know? The hard part is picking between the first two Danganronpa games. And I feel like for some people this shouldn't be, like, that hard, but for me, it's decently hard. I think I prefer Danganronpa 1 to the Danganronpa 2. Now, like Pikmin, it could be a result of me playing the games back-to-back, but I felt as if Danganronpa 2 was just biting off way more than Danganronpa 2 is doing too much, bro. The first game is already insane, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and then the second one just goes balls to the wall with the storytelling and lore. That isn't always a bad thing. The best way to put it is that Danganronpa 2 has higher highs, for sure. Chapter 5 in Danganronpa 2 is probably the best in the series. I haven't even played 3 yet, and I don't think anything from 3 is topping this, especially from what people have been telling me. But Danganronpa 2 also has a lot of stupid, boring shit. I did not care for the finale of Danganronpa 2 at all. I'm like low-key getting mad thinking about it. A lot of the off days and investigations in Danganronpa 2 felt like they dragged on for way too long and had a lot of meaningless shit, especially for visual novel standards. And in general, I just did not give a fuck about like a lot of the characters in Danganronpa 2 compared to the ones in Danganronpa 1. Even the characters I didn't like in Danganronpa 1 had something going for them. Like there were some characters in Danganronpa 1 that were so ass that I like found myself laughing at the fact that this is a real thing I was supposed to take seriously. But the second game just doesn't have that factor for me. I just found myself not caring about some of these characters. Even like ones that were around for like super long, like I just still did not give a fuck about them. It did not make me like them any more or less. But hey, the good characters in Danganronpa 2 are really damn good. And the best characters in Danganronpa 2 are probably better than the best ones from Danganronpa 1. Like, Chiaki is probably the most don't judge a book by its cover character in, like, any game ever. Like, all I knew about Chiaki before playing the game was gamer girl, Twitter, everyone, you know. But, no, she's actually goated. And you have to play the game to see why. But, yeah, I want to get back into the series at some point. I just haven't. I can say, while recording this, I have dipped my toe into Ace Attorney, so that's another visual novel I'm currently in the middle of, so, you know, I'm starting to explore. I did not expect Danganronpa to be this high on the list. I don't think anybody did, even the people I played this game with and talked to about it. But that's another thing. Playing this game in a VC with friends, people who know what happens and people who don't know what happens, is like one of the best experience you could like have with a game over like a Discord call. Like, it's so fun. I recommend it. I did not expect it. I don't know. I'm running out of things with it. I did not like expect to like this series like as much as I did, or at all even. But I'm a sucker for a good story and characters. And the funniest part is that's a debate on whether even that's a thing. Does this game have a good story? Does this game have good characters? The game is asinine. The game can jump from like 0 to 100 at any time, like vibe based, like what's happening. But I don't give a fuck. Like, it's good. I think it's good. I think it's funny. It's fun. It's cool. I like it. I like Danganronpa. Fuck. It's like Danganronpa is like my #1 recommendation for like a blind playthrough, like blind game that someone can play like without knowing anything. Knowing what happens in these games can literally ruin the entire series for you. You may just play it if you care. If you don't want to get spoiled, like if you have any interest in Danganronpa at all, you gotta play it like right now. So we are now at number 1. So yeah, it's Tears of the Kingdom. It's Tears of the Kingdom. A lot of people were excited for this game for years. Like, this game got announced like 2019. Like, people were like dying to play this game. Me personally, like with Fire Emblem Engage and some other games, I didn't give a fuck. Like, I did not care that much. Like, I was definitely gonna play the game, but I just did not care. Like, initially, I was genuinely more interested in games like Final Fantasy 16 and Pikmin 4. But Tears of the Kingdom is now number 1, and I think it's better than both of them. So yeah. The main reason I wasn't excited for this game really was because like I knew it was gonna be good. Like, that sounds dumb. That sounds really dumb, but like it's Zelda and it's Breath of the Wild like sequel. Like, I knew this game was gonna be peak, but this game is a masterpiece. If this list has taught me anything, is that I think that playing games back to back can probably like lessen your outlook on certain games. I played a bit of Breath of the Wild in preparation for this game, and because I did that, the world exploring aspect of Tears of the Kingdom didn't seem that interesting to me. It didn't seem that interesting to me at first, because yeah, it's at its core, this is just Breath of the Wild 2. However, I quickly got over all of that, because seeing like the new stuff this game has, like the mechanics and areas, it's just a natural evolution of Breath of the Wild's gameplay, and it makes it like it's like not just Breath of the Wild 2, but like it is, you know. But it's not. We don't. Some people, depending on who you are, it's not like labeled as just that. I think it is. Basically, it is at its core. I mean, that is what it is, but it's more than that. Now, one of the main selling points of the game is the fact that you can explore the sky, and I thought that part of the game was a bit of a letdown. I thought every sky area was going to be just like the like beginning part of the game, but no, it's just a bunch of random structures just in the sky, like whatever. Okay, sure. The depths, however, are a welcome surprise. The depths were sick. I loved the depths, and even though the sky islands were lame to me, having 3 entire like maps basically to explore is crazy. And completing the map in this game was just as satisfying as it was in Breath of the Wild. I like the new mechanics a lot. At the beginning of the game, I remember like, fuck man, I missed the runes. Like, I don't want to use this stupid hand. Like, this sucks. This is not the same. I eventually warmed up to the Ultra Hand, and the Ascend especially. Like, those abilities are fire. I actually do think that the shrines and dungeons in this game are an upgrade in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't agree, but I think so. A lot of the shrines give you creative freedom with how you want to go about completing them. And the dungeons, while not being that different from the Divine Beast, were still better, in my opinion. And a lot of people have said this, and I agree. I think traversing I think getting to the dungeons were more fun than the dungeons. But that's still, like, in my head, that's, like, part of the dungeon, you know? It's part of the experience. I thought traversing the Divine Beast were, like, annoying. I did not have that fun doing the Divine Beast in Breath of the Wild. Sometimes I felt like a chore. But even the dungeons, just like the shrines, they give you, like, freedom, I feel like. Like, tackling the objectives in the dungeons in any order you want. And it doesn't even feel like that much of a hassle. I know something a lot of people didn't like about the game is the way the story was presented. A lot of people didn't like how seeing the dragon tier, like, the dragon tiers, okay? You see them and you get a bit of the story. A lot of people didn't like how you're basically, like, supposed to find them in, like, random order. So you're just presented parts of the story, like, randomly. Like, in, like, bits and pieces, like, not in order. And it is confusing as shit, and while that is true, I was still interested. I was like, bro, what the fuck happened here? Why are the characters here? Why? Like, I don't know. I thought that they were cooking, in my opinion. I liked what they were doing. I fucked with it. And I also think that this is definitely a hot take. I think this is the best story in Zelda. This is the best Zelda story, in my opinion. I don't know if that's why people play Zelda games. I personally don't, but regardless, I think it's the best story in Zelda. Now, I know the story is only, like, really kind of, like, crazy for Nintendo standards. And even in the grand scheme of things, the story's not that, like, crazy insane. But it has such, like, depth and, like, I don't know, emotional resonance not found in any other Zelda game. I don't think my jaw dropped as fast as it did when I saw the final Dragon Tier cutscene. Link and Zelda's dynamic in this game is, like, it's at a whole new level. Same with, like, Shadow of the Colossus, the themes of, like, sacrifice, and especially destiny, like, the themes of sacrifice and destiny, and just the way the game goes about portraying its story and world is so fascinating. By the end of the game, most players will have most of the picture painted out for them, but most players will also experience the game very differently than others. I know people who pulled the Master Sword in different ways and did it before certain other parts of the game. Like, I don't think anyone is going to play, not any two people are going to play this game the exact same way. Same as Breath of the Wild, but even much more so for this game because it's just that much bigger in scope. Like, I always saw this dragon, the dragon flying around and wondering what the point of it was. And I ended up getting the Master Sword before seeing the final Dragon Tear cutscene and wondered what any of this meant. I didn't understand how the Master Sword got here, but like it didn't matter. It all came together perfectly in the end. None of it was like ruined for me. I thought it was perfect. And even though the final boss is piss easy, the atmosphere and presentation is all it needed to be the perfect finale. Breath of the Wild was the perfect way to start the Switch era of Nintendo, and I think Tears of the Kingdom is the perfect way to end it, even though it's not technically over yet, but you know what I mean. So that was the video. It's finally out. Let me know what you guys thought about it, and let me know what you guys think about this unscripted style. I apologize for this coming out so late. You know, man, life just happens. But it was moving really slow. This video was already gonna be late. Like, it was already late while I was making it, and then at some point it was just like, yeah, this is cooked. Let's just fuck it. But I'm back now. I want to do more stuff. I want to continue the Ocarina of Time playthrough, and I also want to continue doing other stuff. I have so many ideas for videos, just like one-offs. And some of them I've even like started, but I don't know if I'm going to finish it. My brain is filled with so much ideas. The reason I finished making this is because I had an idea for a video, but I was like, man, I can't. You gotta finish what you started, man. And I kind of did that, kind of didn't, but it's something. And as for games of 2024, to be completely honest, I have not been playing that much stuff. Like, as of right now, I don't even think I can make a top 10, but I will cook something up when the time comes as far as that. I want to keep doing videos. I want to keep making videos. YouTube is my passion. I want to make content, all that, blah, blah, blah. So hopefully I can do that. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm very inconsistent, but hopefully I can not be that way. But yeah, just let me know what you thought. You know, like the video. I don't usually say that, but apparently it works. So do that. And I'll see you guys wherever next. Peace, peoples.